All right. Well, well, welcome. It looks like we got a couple participants here today, but again, my name is Justin Smith, Managing Director here, Sin Leadership Academy. The goal of tonight's meeting is a town hall questioning or where we can take and field questions related to our COVID-19 testing program. And really what it is, and Mr. Perez, who is here, is going to talk a great deal in more detail about it. But the idea in the concept is for us to be able to even provide more safety and security for students related to COVID-19. The state has given us the ability and the resources to test all stakeholders on campus, so staff and students, and we're taking advantage of that by giving our families the ability to opt in to both diagnostic testing and screening testing. So what I wanted to make sure was clear was our goal is to just make sure that we do everything that we can do to make sure that students are safe and staff are safe. And one of the things that we can do is routine screening and also diagnostic testing once students or staff show symptoms. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Damian Perez, our operations programs manager, who is our go-to for all things COVID related. And I know he has a brief presentation, but the goal is to give information and then take any questions that may be out there from any of our stakeholders. So without further ado, Damian, take it over, and you're good to go.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And as Mr. Smith said, I am operations program manager here at Ascend Leadership Academy. I have been heading up the COVID-19 protocols here on campus since the beginning, so approximately almost 2 years now. It seems like a lot longer than that. It's been a lot. But in conjunction with the Department of Health and Human Services, we've been able to put protocols in place to help our students stay safe and be able to stay open so that we can have full learning, which is what we really want to encourage and stay with. So with that in mind, we were given an opportunity through Department of Health and Human Services, through the state, and utilizing some federal funds to implement a testing program here. So really the overall guidance is given by the state, given by with federal funds. That allows us to implement a testing program here for our staff and for our students. There is guidance that goes along with it, but in conjunction, we are using a third-party vetted vendor through the state called Mako Medical. They are a Raleigh-based medical company that is running our testing program, providing the guidance and helping us basically set up our protocols for this. And so I'm going to run just real quick on how we've got here, what we're planning to do, and then really what this means to the community. So how it works is that we were able to partner up with Mako through North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Strong Schools NC program. We opted in. That allows us to get access to some of the grant funds in order to provide this testing free of charge to our staff and to our students. In addition to some other benefits to the school, such as being able to have a budget now to hire a school nurse in order to help us with this program. And that is to come here pretty soon, I'm hoping. But with that, we've opted in to do this program. We've partnered with Mako. They are now getting us in the process of setting up. So really that was step one, was the school to make this collaboration for us to opt in to kind of set up the background. We've got the website set up to do all of that kind of things in order to provide this testing. We still have kids coming in. So we're looking at this program being fully implemented in a couple of weeks. We still got kids coming in, so we're still waiting on some of that. But we're really on step two, which is the parents and staff opting in. So basically this program of testing is only going to be administered to those that opt in. That's what gives us the access, permission to go ahead and do testing. And I'm going to talk about the specific types of testing here in a minute, but it's really important that we go ahead and take the time to opt in. That gives us the ability to go ahead and do the test without any delays. We are going to have the capabilities of adding students and staff after the fact, but there's no guarantee that we'll be able to get it in the database, get everything updated, get the permissions in time for us to do, let's say, a rapid test that morning if somebody has some symptoms. So we're really trying to be proactive on this, get everyone registered up in the beginning. That way it gives us the permissions to go ahead and run the test. So that's the email that I sent out, the message that was sent out originally. There are a couple of links. So if you're in the middle school, there is a specific link for students and a specific link for staff. And if you're at the high school, there is a specific link for those students and for those staff. We did it in two different buildings. That way we can kind of manage the program a little bit easier with our materials and also our pickup and drop off points. So it's really important that you go ahead and use the appropriate links. And I believe we can probably get those on the website, and we'll be sending it out again in a message next week again as a reminder and follow up. Once we've gone through this opt-in period for staff and families, and we get the materials, Mako is going to come down here. They're going to run through some training with myself and Mr. Smith, and then we're basically going to be up and running, where we're going to be able to provide testing on site. And really, there's two main types of testing we're going to be doing. One is the screening, otherwise known as the pooling test. This is just a weekly test of some random students, random staff, just to see if there's any kind of exposure with asymptomatic personnel. And this is going to help us get ahead. If we can identify that someone is positive, then we can kind of quickly get ahead of that transmission and prevent any kind of spreads. So that's going to be a routine screening we're going to be doing on a weekly basis. And then we're also going to be doing our diagnostic testing, and this is going to be our rapid testing. This is going to allow us, if somebody, whether staff or students, are displaying symptoms through the day here on campus, they'll be able to come get a quick rapid test, and in 15 minutes we'd be able to have the results and be able to then really kind of limit the exposure, limit the contacts, and kind of once again just get ahead of the exposures and limit potential impact. There is a quick presentation video that I wanted to show through Mako. Give me a second. Let me go ahead and pull this up.
Mako is honored to get to partner with Vance County. We're so happy to give back to this community and work alongside the schools to help the kids, the teachers, and the community stay safe during this time and help them in whatever way we can. Be in person, but be safe. So we're excited. We're performing the anterior nasal swab. So we take a swab about 3/4 inch up the nose, and we lightly swirl it around 4 times on each nostril. It's about 15 seconds total. This test is very easy for children because the anterior nasal swab only goes about 3/4 inch, so it's not very invasive, but it's super effective, and the swab we use is super soft, so kids actually say that it's ticklish because of the little bristles, so it's easy, it's 15 seconds, we're out before they know it.
Now high five. Awesome.
It's important for schools to routinely test students on site for quality control. I mean, if students go get tested off-site, we don't know who's testing them, we don't know where they're getting tested. If they test on-site, then the schools know who's testing the kids and what exactly is going on site. We make sure that the people that we send out are the highest level of people that are going to be administering the test. We make sure that the kids or whoever's getting tested is walked through the test and make sure they feel safe. As soon as the testing is done, we run it right back over to the lab and send the results back as quickly as possible.
For me, being able to test kids, I feel like I'm playing such an important role in helping them stay safe. And I know that swabbing might make kids nervous the first time. So it's fun just to be there for them and show them, it's easy and it's fun and it's going to be safe.
Good job.
So once again, as the video is kind of saying, that there's going to be the two types of tests. It's going to be the rapid test and the PCR, or the routine screening pool testing. On a weekly basis, we're going to be administering the test, random personnel, and we submit that test. Mako Medical then picks up the test. They process it, and within 24 hours, we're able to see the results on our internal website that we have set up. So it's going to be a real quick, easy process. And as you can see, it's not that kind of test where some believe that we're going to be taking a Q-tip swab and really going far up and tickling the brain. It's not going to be like that. It's a real simple, but as they said, about a 3/4 inch, just swabbing around in the nasal cavity. And so it will be real simple, real easy. And I believe it's going to really help us kind of get ahead and make sure we're staying safe here at the school. So as we said, this is going to be rolled out in a couple of weeks. Once we do actually have a nurse on staff, they are going to be the primary point of contact for this. They're going to be administering the test. In the meantime, Mrs. Smith and I are still setting up this program, so everything is going to be ready for when we're ready to get started. So with that being said, I will go ahead and open it up for any questions, anything that I might not have covered. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to either put it in the chat, or I'm not sure if we can unmute and do it that way. Any questions? Anyone have any questions about this? We will be sending another notification, another message out next week. Once again, it's trying to kind of be proactive, get everyone signed up in the beginning. That way it's going to make the testing program a little bit easier. Remember that there are going to be two different signups, whether you're at the high school or at the middle school. So please be sure to go ahead and register at the proper site. This is going to be done either on a weekly basis for our pooling test, or it is going to be done for diagnostics for anyone that is symptomatic that day. We can get some quick results. This is really recommended for those that are vaccinated or unvaccinated. It kind of helps us get ahead of the transmission. Probably missed it. The rapid test is whenever symptoms are displays, and the weekly test ramp something. Yes, Mr. Lee, that is exactly what it is. So the pooling test is just going to be random for the week and on a weekly basis. The diagnostic, the rapid test, is really going to be for those that are displaying symptoms. We may have a student that comes to the front office and they're not feeling well, displaying a few of the symptoms that's normally associated with COVID. We're able to give them a rapid test. That I believe that would really help alleviate some of the burden from our families too, having to go find a test or schedule an exam, an appointment to get the test. So we're just trying to make it easy for our families to go ahead and do it as well. Good question. Any other questions? All right. Well, Mr. Smith and I are available at any time to answer any questions, whether through email or calling at the school. So does it mean we can change the mask requirement? Unfortunately, the mask requirement is not really going to change in conjunction with this. This is just an additional safety protocol, safety measure to help us just get ahead and prevent any spreads. ALA has been really great. Our staff, our students have been really great following protocols, really taking the time to be safe. And thankfully, and not to jinx anything, but thankfully we haven't had any spread here at the school. And we just want to keep it that way so that we can keep the doors open. Really, the mask requirement comes from recommendations and just being able to allow us to do this. And that is reviewed on the board by the board on a monthly basis to go ahead and see whether we don't continue. And at this point, it's really advised, especially with our winter sports starting up, that we just stay with the mask mandate the mask requirement that we have right now. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, as I said, available to answer questions at any time. Please, if you have any COVID related situations or questions, please feel free to contact me directly. I am able to kind of help you with the guidance, and the link didn't work. Is it required? Yes, I'll be sure to go ahead and send the link out again to make sure that those that maybe weren't able to. Really, I had somebody provide feedback saying that they were asking, they were on some site that was asking for what district the school was in and some additional information. The link to register for this really shouldn't, it's an ALA specific one. So it's not going to ask anything other than your information for those that are over 18, parental consent, and then information about the person registering. That's really the basics of what it does. It doesn't, if you're seeing anything about a district or school or anything else, I'd say, wait until I resend out this link and you'll have it. Is there testing report? Is there, Ms. Wood, I'm not sure if I understand, is testing required?
I think maybe she's asking, are they required to be tested at school?
Okay, so it is not mandatory. This is if you opt in. If you do not opt in, we do not have the permissions to test, whether it's students or staff. So you have to opt in. But I was assured, no problems with. I was assured that, or I was kind of given that caveat to say that if you do not opt in the beginning, and you develop symptoms and you come to the office to want to get a rapid test, we can register you at that point. However, providing that information and uploading it to the website, we may not get the turnaround. It may not have the registration fully complete for us to be able to do that rapid testing at that time. So in order to prevent that, we really want to kind of take it and be proactive and opt in the beginning, so that if that situation arises, we'll be ready to go and be able to do that rapid test in that sense. But if you do not opt in, then we cannot test. Any other questions? Double check, make sure I got them all. All right, Mrs. Smith, it looks like you do not have any other questions. As I said, more information, I will send another message out. More information will come along with the registration links. Make sure they work, and I'll try to have them up on the website as well, so you can access it that way. All right.
Yeah, and I was just saying this session was recorded, so we'll post it, send it out, and continue to send messages out along, with the video. And if there's any other questions that you have, I would assume, Mr. Perez, you want them to contact you directly. You're probably the best person to contact, and you can just email him at dperez@alaschoolsnc.org, or me at jsmith@alaschoolsnc.org. But I'll probably forward it to him. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, so that it'll be there, and then if there's questions that come up after the fact, then we can get those answered too.